Hello, I'm Andy Boddington.
I'm Tracey Huffer.
This is the first of our series of podcasts on COVID-19 and its impacts on our community.
And we're going to talk about Ludlow and the current COVID infection in Ludlow.
So to get into that, we need to understand how COVID spread across England and spread into Shropshire. That's coming up in the next few images. As everyone knows, the second wave is well underway. However, there is some sign of good news. Infections may have actually peaked in England, and it looks like they have in Shropshire and Telford. But the news from Ludlow is not quite as clear, and we're not yet certain that they have peaked. If we look at the infection rates for England right up to yesterday, we get the typical pattern of this sort of weekly rush of cases coming forward and then nothing on Sundays. We've also got on this graph the first peak down there in February, March, April into May, and that's rather low. That's because there wasn't much testing available and because the government didn't include a huge number of tests in the data at the time. The second peak is a more realistic height, but you can see on the right hand side a definite fall in the number of cases. We'll have to wait a little while to see if that's going to be a continuing trend. When we go to look at Shropshire, it's a very, very similar pattern, and again on the right hand side the welcome news that cases are beginning to fall quite rapidly. And again to Telford and Wrekin. Telford and Wrekin has always had more cases, a higher infection rate than Shropshire, particularly around Harper Adams, but now around the A5, south of the A5. And again, it's dropping very rapidly. Going back to Shropshire itself, just looking at number of cases now, there are two particular areas of quite concern. Shrewsbury, where there's some very high rates in some areas like the town centre, and on the east side of the county, around Much Wenlock, where there was an outbreak, and the nearby settlements of Bridgenorth and Highley. Ludlow, which is down sort of at the bottom there, barely features in this scale. Turning now to Ludlow, as you can see, cases are still steeply rising. So is that reality, Tracey?
Absolutely, Andy, I concur with everything you've just said. Cases in Ludlow are rising. We have the evidence, although I have to say most people remain asymptomatic. That means they show no symptoms whatsoever. That doesn't mean we can be complacent. We must remain vigilant and careful and be safe.